In this video, we're going to take a look at the iFi Zen Blue version 2. So the iFi Audio Zen Blue V2 just came out. I'm gonna take a guess. It was about 2 months ago. So I don't know how this one got past me, but it did. One of my viewers asked me if I've seen the new version 2, and I'm like, version 2? What's that? So anyway, yeah, I got a hold of one. They're exactly the same unit as far as cosmetics go. They're using the exact same closure here. It's a solid aluminum, really nice. I really like the way they did that. You know, one thing I liked about the iFi stuff, they don't just, you know, they didn't phone in their design. I mean, this was a complete new design. A lot of these higher end Bluetooth units just kind of phoned in their design, in my opinion, and iFi just kind of kicked it up a notch. I think they're kind of cool. Yeah, they're a little funky looking, but boy, you really get to appreciate the artistic value of them. Okay, so the deal is these are both Bluetooth 5.0 units. They both support multiple codecs, and I'll put a link to these units down below, also with printed specs and all of that kind of stuff. But just basically, they're both really identical. They both use the Qualcomm 5100 series chipset. They support AAC, SBC, aptX, aptX HD, aptX adaptive. Let's see, what else was it? aptX LL for low latency, LDAC, HWA. So, man, I can't believe I remembered all that. Anyway, so they'll pretty much cover anything you can throw at it, and I really like that because I test with different units. I'll test with a tablet. I'll test with a really old elderly laptop. I'll test with a couple old cell phones, Android and Apple. So AAC works great on these. If you guys are Apple guys, you guys are gonna really dig these units. Killer frequency response, 20 to 20,000. They put out the proper RCA output level of 2 volts RMS. Actually, they're rated at 2.05 volts RMS. They have a dynamic range of 109 dB. Let's see, what was it? Signal of noise was about 1.9, I think 110. And THD on the new unit is 0.0015, and I believe on version 2 it was 0.015. And they also have a output impedance of 50 ohms, and they run off 5 volts, so pretty good. Okay, let's get the old one out of the way for a second. We'll just go on the back panel here. So those of you not familiar, this is the typical Zen Blue setup. On the rear panel, we have the coaxial, what was it, 5.5 millimeter power connector. That's 5 volts. We have optical output, coaxial output. This is our switch that allows us to switch the output. So if we're gonna use coaxial or optical, whether it's going into a DAC or a modern AV receiver, we put the switch over towards that. And I really like how they did that. That's kind of cool. We're going to go over here and just use RCA outs. Then we're going to use the analog switch here. We have left and right, and yeah, those are backwards, but that's okay. And then we have balanced output, and what was that? 4.5 millimeter, 4.4 millimeter stereo balanced output, which is kind of cool because you guys that have you guys want to tie into some rack gear or something, maybe use this in a DJ type situation, or however, I mean, you can tie it into rack gear, pro audio type stuff, and then also a lot of the higher end amps will accept that. So what you'll need is the stereo to dual XLR output converter cord for that, and you can have the best of all worlds in Analogville. Okay, pretty stout, sturdy piece of gear. I really like that. What they did on this, I'm not really sure if you're going to be able to see that on camera here, but this is our little window here, and this window serves a couple purposes. This lets us know that the unit's on, and it will change colors according to what codec that you have. So like, what was it, AAC, I think was yellow. Actually, I have their little cheat sheet here because we have a little cheat sheet that comes with it. And by the way, this is a very easy, I'd almost say a quick start guide. So this is everything right here, all you need to know. So yeah, AAC was yellow. Let's see, aptX HD is magenta. So this changes, like I say, with whatever codec that you're using. This also acts as a pairing indicator, and it's nice. Well, you know, something that oh, I just want to bring this up real quick. The old version 1 series. Okay, as you'll notice, these buttons here are just pairing buttons. They are not on-off buttons. Okay, so a lot of people just don't have a problem with leaving their device on, and I don't really either. I mean, I do honestly prefer an on-off switch, but it doesn't have to happen. When you plug into an old vintage piece of gear like I do, it has a switched AC output on the back, and so that will basically just turn the unit on and off. But that being said, when you unhook your device from version 1, this little pilot light will sit and flash all day and all night. Now, it's not really bright or anything like that. It's not annoying, okay, but it'll just kind of sit and flash, and it'll go all the time. No big deal. All right, what I like here, and it's not mentioned anywhere in any of the literature that I found or the manual or anything, when version 2 unit here is unpaired, so like say you turn off your phone or your tablet, after 5 minutes, this thing visually goes to sleep. Now, it's still on with like, I want to say like a beacon signal. So basically, whenever you turn on a device, it's going to show up iFi Zen on your Bluetooth list. And if you say, for instance, take your cell phone and you're streaming from your cell phone to this, and you're done for the day, night, whatever, you turn your phone off or whatever, and you know, leave the Bluetooth on your phone, but you just turn off the phone. After 5 minutes, this will give the appearance of going to sleep, so you won't have any of this action going on right here. Okay, so that's kind of cool. Now, when you wake up your phone, when you turn your phone back on, it wakes this up. So I kind of like that feature. They, in my opinion, they sort of made up for not having an on-off switch. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. Depending on what literature you look at, this will support or stay paired to 7 devices, and I think one of the pieces of literature that I read said 8. I've never really pushed it. I've had 3 paired to this at the same time, and it just makes for easy pairing. You know, you just don't have to go through that whole process. Not really a big deal. What was cool about this is when, for you Apple guys, and I'm not really an Apple person, but what I thought was kind of neat, when I fired up my Apple phone here, I could toggle right between these two by just, of course, you Apple guys know this, to us Android guys, this is new, but I can just go back and forth, and it made my A/B comparison really super simple. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm doing audio testing on an old Marantz 2250B, some clip speakers, a subwoofer. No real big deal. It's not high-end by any means, but it's not a schlep system either. You know, I can pretty much, I know my system really well, and the 24 or so CDs that I downloaded on my phone, I know those pretty well. I'm quite used to them, and I gotta be honest with you, my 56-year-old ears, I could not tell the difference. Now, this has a better working type setup in it, and so it's supposed to be less jitter, and I honestly didn't hear it. I'm sure it's there, and I'm sure it shows up on, you know, test equipment, the scope and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to say that. But however, I couldn't really hear the difference. I thought maybe I heard it on one of the on a track that I was playing on my tablet, but yeah, it's still superior to pretty much every other unit that I have in my little stable, and I have a lot in there. So I really dig the sound of this thing. I like the fact that it goes to sleep. Did I already mention that? All right, cool. All right, next thing that makes this the version 2 is that it has, and let's see, where did I put it? It has an upgraded antenna. They advertise it at 80% increase in range. Okay, that's interesting. They, as far as I know, they did not change anything internally. They just gave us a higher gain antenna. What I thought was kind of cool in the package is they give you 2 antennas, show-offs. So they gave you 2, all right? So you get the standard one. This is the same one that comes on version 1, if you will. And V2 came with the little white one and this larger one, all right? Now, in antenna land at 2.4 gigahertz, size, it kind of makes a difference, yeah. I mean, I'm sure this shows up on test gear that way, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to put this to like a real world test. So, grab this stuff. Here's what I did. So I'm starting this kind of a standardized system here. And this was using my Galaxy Samsung phone. And this is a simplified version, the layout of my house. And generally, I put my Bluetooth receivers here in my front room where my receiver is. And then I'll walk this little walk down the hall here. And a lot of devices will stop receiving signal when I get to about this doorway, this part of the bedroom here, and maybe sometimes when I get to this, just the inside of this brick wall. I've even had units, some of the lower end ones, you know, fade out right about here. And that's about, what, 40 something feet. So the Zen V2, I actually had to, I had to extend my little system here and add on. I know this is kind of cheesy, but this is real world. So, all right. So what I did is I walked outside and I stayed right along this line. So I didn't come out here to try to get away from a wall. I wanted to go through this whole brick wall. So with the small original antenna, I came out here 43 feet past my wall, right there. That surpasses almost every Bluetooth unit I've ever tested. All right, so just for giggles, I put the extended range antenna on and got out here. So I went 71 feet past my brick wall. Okay, stock antenna was 43 feet past the brick wall. That's just crazy range. I thought that was pretty impressive. So yeah, I mean, the version 2, yes, it's because of the antenna, but it does have better range. Okay. On my little data sheet here, it comes with a 21-inch RCA. It does not come with optical cable. Doesn't come with USB cable. It does have a AC adapter that comes with it, and it's a pretty quality AC adapter. I really like those. Has that little quick start user guide here. Comes with 2 antennas, a low gain antenna, which is I call it a low gain stock antenna, and then the high gain upgraded antenna. This is a receiver only, and what my overall performance numbers were for receiving with the stock antenna, I got a total of 88 feet range, and with the high gain antenna, I got 116 foot in range. Pretty cool. Sound quality in receive mode is a perfect 10. Yep, there is a perfect 10. And this puppy is the perfect 10 right there. Okay, and then of course I've gone over the supported codecs, etc., etc. It has a pairing button. It does not have an on-off button. Volume control, track up down is not applicable to this. Has RCA output, optical output, coaxial output, and 4.4 millimeter balanced output. The power connector on the back is really, you know, it's kind of the old school. We used to call them coaxial. It's a 5.5 millimeter power connector, and I really like that over the USB-Cs and all that. I'm just old school. So it has the upgraded crystal clock for lower jitter, codec pairing displays, and this one is not as bright as version 1, and I'll show you that in a minute. They use the Qualcomm 5100 chip and ESS Sabre DAC, which is the exact same chip, Bluetooth chip, and the DAC chip as in version 1. And of course, these guys, these guys really go overboard on the construction. They use, TDK ceramic caps, Texas Instrument ICs. So anyway, I believe, now don't quote me on this. I haven't really talked to the company or anything like that. I believe they're going to phase out V1. Now V1 is $129 on Amazon, and I believe on iFi's website they're the same price too. I don't mind ordering from Dr. Evil on Amazon, but just because of the return policy on there, I think that's a way to go, and it's pretty quick. So yeah, I think what they're going to do is phase out version 1, and you're going to go with V2, and version 2 comes in at $159. Yeah, $30 more. $30 more for better clocking, less jitter, and a high gain antenna. Is it worth it? Oh man, I don't know. Here's the deal. Yes, it is worth it. It's very much worth it. Look, gosh, I don't want to slam these guys too much, but I paid 189 bucks for this puppy, and this is a very flat sounding piece. I mean, maybe an audiophile would call this audiophile, but it's a very flat piece. It really is. It's a good sounding unit, but no joy to listen to, in my opinion. I mean, it's one of the top performers. This came in at what, I believe 2 or 3 in my top 5 for the year, and I'll have to go back and revisit that. And I should know that off the top of my head, but I do so much with this stuff. I'm a little old, and I'm getting a little forgetful. What can I say? So that being said, this comes in at $189. We have way more bang for the buck here. The audio engine has analog out, it has optical out, and that's it. That's it. The micro USB adapter doesn't fit in there all the way. It's kind of a little cheesy. I like the power adapter on this. I like the fact that with the iFi, I can play around with different antenna setups. With this particular unit, I'm just stuck with it. All right. I like the fact that it has a balanced output, so if I ever want to upgrade, I can do that. At $159, I mean, this is well worth it. I'd pay more for this. Don't tell iFi that. But anyway, I would. I think it's well worth it. So $159, really, really a lot of bang for the buck. This thing weighs a pound. This is not a schleppy unit here. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. We're going to take an inside look and compare them. I actually have not done that. I know, right? And then I want to show you what the lighting looks like. Okay, so I've busted open both units. Here's version 1, here's version 2. Let's take a look at the boards real quick. Well, offhand, I really see no difference in any board revisions, any added components. I'm sure that whatever updates they've made happen to do with these integrated circuits. The reason for the brighter lights on this one, on version 1, is because these lights were bent facing towards the windows, and these lights were standing straight up. The LEDs were standing straight up, and I bent these over. So I'm hoping that they're going to beam forward, and version 2 LED indicators will be just as bright as version 1. That was kind of really the only pet peeve, but I like lights. Entertain me, please. All right, let's see here. What else? This says version 2. This board is version 1.2, so there's obviously more than we're just seeing here with the naked eye. Let's flip them over to the back side. What do we see here? Over here in the capacitor section on version 1, we've got some plain, just a few pads showing up. What do we got? 4 over there. Over here we've got 8 on version 2. So they've made some board revisions as well. What else here? Oh, okay. This is interesting. So this is a little ground piece, and what this thing does is this just kind of rubs against a little tab back here. So you get a little surface ground, possibly like a ground plane. And on version 1 we have, on version 1 we have 1 of those for ground. On version 2 we have 2 of them now. So they've beefed that up a little bit. That could help with a little bit of extra range. I don't see why not. A little ground plane or a little bit more of a ground plane is always good. Pretty darn good components there. Yeah, really nice. Okay, quality parts, that's for sure. Okay, the fitment on these two were fairly close. However, the fitment on the front bezel here on version 2 was a little bit tighter. I like how they've milled this out. Yeah, pretty nice. I'm really impressed with these. Oh, look at this. So the pairing button has a little bit of a little thin layer of felt on there. It's where version 1 is just directly touching the button itself. I didn't feel a difference, but maybe I'll go back and revisit that. But yeah, pretty quality stuff. Okay, well, let's see here. We're gonna wrap this up and take a look and see what the little LED modification did. I'm gonna assume that's gonna be better. So let's put her back together and wrap it up. There's a little bit of difference. This is version 1. This is version 2. Little softer lighting here, and I think it's because of the thickness of the little glass here. And there is like a little, some little black silk screening or something back in there. There's kind of a little design, but I'm not really seeing it stand out too much. And that's about it. It's really not a big deal. However, you know, little difference. Okay, you guys, so this is version 1 again, and this is version 2. And I took those LED lights and I bent them so they were beaming forward towards the little windows here and not straight up like this one was factory. I bent them so it's like these, as you saw in that earlier clip. It did take care of the brightness issue, so I'm super happy, super stoked. All right, you guys, let's see. One last thing I forgot to do. I told you folks that it came with a, what was it, a 21-inch RCA cord, and here's the cord. So anyway, I'm really, I'm super impressed, and I really like these two. I think version 2 is well worth the extra 30 bucks. I really do. In just range alone. If you guys are struggling with maybe having a range issue, maybe you can't get around a wall while you're doing your housework with your cell phone or something like that, or whatever, I think possibly the antenna upgrade will make the difference. And I'm not really sure if you can buy this antenna separately from iFi. I have no idea. But that being said, I believe that version 2 is going to be the replacement of version 1. I just looked on iFi's website, and as of today, I believe they only had 7 of these left. And I have not talked to iFi, haven't done anything back and forth with them really, so I'm not sure if they're going to phase out version 1. But at $159, version 2, extra range, better clocking speed, although these old, like I said before, these old ears didn't really hear much of a difference. I'm sure you young bucks with the good set of ears, or maybe some really gnarly headphones or something, and a really super high-end stereo system, you may hear it. It's not really an issue, honestly, because I think this took care of all that. But that being said, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Please leave questions or comments down below. I'll leave links to this stuff down below as well. And remember, guys, when you use any of my Amazon links, when you go shopping, whether you buy one of these or you buy a 20-pound bag of dog food, I get just a little small commission, comes out of Dr. Evil's pocket, not out of your pocket, and that helps fund this channel so I can do videos like this. All right, thanks for watching.